Blue 22, hike, hike.
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
That's what he said.
All right. Not a lot to talk about today. That's why we're kind of signing on a little late. Well, that and I had to run an errand first thing in the morning. And we are going to be ending no later than 10:55 today, Eastern Standard Time. So you have questions, get them in now. If you don't, suck it. This show is it's not suited for kids, not suitable for work. Unless you have headphones, then you can watch it or whatever. But we will, this is good times. Good times to be alive. Stock market is tanking. Opportunities to buy. Check into these companies, read into them, make sure they are good. They are a good company, and this is just something you can buy that's on sale. That's it. That's all you have to do. I'm not your financial advisor.
The stock market
so don't
closed.
take me for word.
The stock market closed for the first time in 12 years today. They halt in trading for the first time in 12 years.
They were
before
scared.
10 a.m. Yes, they are.
Scared.
Well, but it's also a protective measure for the stock market to protect itself from days like this so that it just literally can't get any worse today.
Right. Yeah.
Which doesn't mean it won't get bad again tomorrow, but you know.
It's just, I mean, we could be in a recession. We don't know.
It's very possible.
We do not know the answer to that. My guess is we're probably pretty close due to the fact that because I was following the Carnival cruise lines, Carnival and Royal Caribbean and all that stuff and how much they've tanked. And I just looked back and they've only really taken these huge dips in the last 12 years during the recessions, that .com bubble and and then obviously the 2008, 2009 Great Recession that we had. They take huge dips then for obvious reasons. I mean, nobody really wants to go on a cruise when they have no money.
Right.
And then you had the coronavirus in the top of it. But I think people seem to be thriving right now. Jobs are never been better. But it's just been crazy. It's been crazy time. Crazy time. But I definitely bought a few things this morning when they allowed me to finally.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. So let's get into the actual. That's our sorts talk for today.
Just again, friendly advice. Just don't look at your 401k for a little while.
Do not look at it. Just keep dumping money into it because that's dollar cost averaging at its finest. And that's what I'm going to continue to do anyway. I mean, keep dumping money into the chat, all that kind of stuff. Got to do it. And hope it works out for the best.
Yep. And I mean, I'm in the business, and in this business, we tell people stay the course, and that's what I'll continue to do.
All right, so let's get into sports. We had a couple of topics today that I wanted to talk about. One, I wish I got the clip. I mean, I could probably pull it up pretty quick. I'll try and pull it up. But essentially, the Lakers played the Clippers. So LeBron James, 1, destroyed Giannis, 2, destroyed Kawhi, and showed that, yes, he is still the greatest player in the game, which is what we talked about, I think, last show? Yeah. We were talking about how good.
2 shows ago, yeah.
How good he was still at the age, 37? He's been in the league for almost
35.
2 decades. Is he 35?
35, yeah.
No.
I don't think he's 37.
I think he's 37. Alexa, how old is LeBron James? 35, you're right. Yeah, that's right. He started when he was really young. He's been in the league for 17 years?
17 years.
Yeah. So, we have a little clip here. Patrick Beverly. He's an idiot. I mean, he's one of those guys that I think that you would love to have on your team, but you hate when he's not on your team. He's got that attitude, that swagger, and he is
that Draymond Green kind of.
I think he's worse though, in a different way, because Draymond's talented. He's very talented, but I feel like Patrick Beverly is actually a lockdown defender. He is. I do think that he could hold his own with LeBron, but the stuff he says is just astronomical. So here's Patrick Beverly after the game, he already gave credit. He was like, yeah, the Lakers were definitely better than us. They definitely came out to play harder, all that kind of stuff. And a reporter asked, how hard is it to guard LeBron James?
Can you describe the challenge it is defensively when LeBron... No challenge. But particularly the end of the game... No challenge. Can you describe what it's like as a defender to when he tries to force the switches
Not hard
with
at
the
all.
guard?
That is just crazy. The guy is, he believes in himself.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a little crazy.
I like his defiance. I don't like guys who kiss the ring. I don't like that. So I have no problem with it whatsoever. I mean, listen, when push comes to shove, I mean, LeBron probably toast him, but I don't have a problem with him saying it. I mean, when's the next time he's going to have to defend him? I don't know. I don't know when they play each other. So
they have one more game. More game this year, and then they're going to meet up in the playoffs probably.
Yeah, it's a good chance. I don't have an issue with it. I mean, listen, look, you got to do what you can to try and play mind games with LeBron because that's really your only defense against him, if that. I mean, you can't physically beat him still. No. Even at 35, he's still the best player in the league. Yeah. So,
with no signs showing that he's slowing down anytime soon.
Very little, especially when you consider the amount of minutes that he's played this year. I mean, he has not been on load management at all. So the guy's playing a ton of basketball, and he's still performing at the highest possible peak. So what else can you do other than I guess to try and get in his head? But it won't work anyway. LeBron's been around too long. You're not going to get inside his head. So
he tried. He got in his face a couple times, and and they even said during the game they were like, "That should be a technical. Like that should be a technical foul." But he got in his face and just kind of stayed shoulder to shoulder and walking back, and you are trying to cause a kerfuffle. Sure. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get something. You're trying to get under his skin. You're trying to get him to go swinging. He's not going to do that.
Do when a guy is, that great and dominant, and you got to try and pull out all the stops, I guess.
He's a guy. LeBron James is a guy I guarantee would reach out to Patrick Beverly in the offseason and be like, hey, what do you think about coming to the Lake Show?
Yeah, sure he would.
I think you're a great defender.
Yep.
I like your attitude. I love playing with greats. Yep. Get on in here and let's play.
Maybe. I
can see that happening.
I don't think he's a hold a grudge kind of guy. I think LeBron just wants to win all the time.
And I think Patrick Beverly would be like, all right, I'm going to come in and I'm going to shut down Kawhi. I think that's how he is. That's the kind of attitude he has.
Sure. And another, good luck with that kind of thing.
He did, LeBron James did not score on Patrick Beverly in that game yesterday, from what I understand. I didn't watch the whole game. He did not score. That's what I read. He didn't score on Patrick Beverly.
The other side of this, of course, is maybe that's just what he believes. Maybe he just, maybe he's just such a good defender that he doesn't believe that LeBron is a significant threat.
I think he would say that about everybody.
Oh, well, if you're going to say it about LeBron, of course you'd say it about everybody. I mean, you're starting at the top. So I think it should be assumed that anybody beneath that is not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because LeBron is still possibly, when he decides to assert himself, because LeBron is also a very passive player because he likes to pass the ball a lot. But when he decides to assert himself and makes the decision that I'm going to take over a game offensively, is there anybody more aggressive going to the basket? No. So, I mean, if you're saying you can shut down LeBron, it has to be assumed that you're applying that to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I don't have a problem saying it. I don't know. Slow news cycle, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a real I don't have much of a problem with him saying that.
It is a slow news cycle. But so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of talk about that. It was a big game yesterday. The Clippers have beaten them twice already this year, and I think the Lakers won the third game. This is the time where you would really see the cream rise to the top, though, too. Yeah. So this is the time of the year where LeBron James has been known to step up his game to get ready for the playoffs. Anthony Davis is playing out of his mind. He's been playing great, and they seem to really have a great connection. I think that they are I think they're destined for the NBA Finals, and I don't see anybody being able to stop them.
I got to tell you, the NBA, the Western Conference, really intrigues me this year more than ever. First of all, I think there are truly three teams that are capable of winning a championship this year.
Yeah.
One is the Bucks, one is the Lakers, one is the Clippers. But what I find most fascinating about this NBA season is
the
that
Celtics too. They could get their act together. I mean, they've been sliding lately, but if they can get their act together, like the Rockets, no, they're just not built for it. They don't play defense, so they're screwed.
No.
There's lots of issues there, but like there are a couple of teams that you're like, yeah.
What just intrigues me so much about the Western Conference Finals is that series will be played in one arena, and it could easily go 7 games. And I know that the way it works is certain games will be Laker home games and certain games will be Clipper home games.
How do they do that?
Well, I guess
do they release the tickets to like Lakers fans first?
The Lakers season ticket owners obviously are the first priorities for the Lakers home games.
The Clippers ones are probably cheaper. I don't know.
They might be. I don't know though. I don't know if that's true anymore.
I mean, they've been pretty. They've been decent.
Lately,
obviously.
That arena is going to be. I don't know. I have a feeling it'll be split. Like, I wonder if there really is not going to be. Is there really going to be a home court for either of those teams?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe a little bit. You're not really that noticeable. You won't be able to really notice it probably on, during the game when you're watching on TV. You probably won't be able to notice it that much. But if you were there, you might be like, oh yeah, it's definitely a little louder for the Lakers.
Yeah, you might be able to feel it a little more in the arena. Yeah, if you're there.
But not on TV. I don't see it being. Yeah.
No, it's crazy.
It is crazy. And this is going to be a very
interesting. That should be a fun. I mean, assuming they both get to the Western Conference Finals, which seems like a relatively safe assumption. Mm-hmm. Boy, that's going to be fun.
I think it's very interesting how Paul George, once again, he plays both sides of the floor. He's very good at it. Didn't show up in the fourth quarter. 2 points. 31 points in the game. 2 points in the fourth quarter. That's not what you want from one of your go-to guys. I mean, that's Kawhi's time. Let's be real. That's Kawhi's time. But Kawhi, even they were quiet in the fourth quarter. Not it was definitely the Lakers game. So I don't know. It's a very interesting dynamic over there in LA. Yeah. But I'm looking forward. Like the playoffs, the NBA playoffs, I really look forward to. It's like there's a couple of times a year that I really look forward to sports. I'd say several, maybe. Really.
Yeah.
I really look forward to. I really, really look forward to opening day in baseball. That's fun. Then it's like baseball's every day, and it's just amazing.
26?
I love it. There are certain times like golf, like with the Masters and even the Players Championship that's coming up, and there's certain times where I'm just like, oh, I gotta watch golf. Like, this is gonna be so amazing. And I still tune in here and there, but it's like there's certain times that you're just like, ooh, I really need to watch this. Then there's NFL. I like the regular season, but it's really when the playoffs start.
So
I know you are a big draft guy.
Oh yeah.
And then for also like the playoffs in baseball are just I love it. It's like it's something I crave. I can't wait to get there. September is such a long month. I just can't wait for the October to get there. And then also NBA, when the NBA gets to the playoffs, it's just you have all these good teams finally getting in there, and they have so many kids, so many teams in.
Yeah.
And you're just watching these teams pick each other apart, and you see these stars rise up to these levels that are just kind of like, they're almost like God level in that, in that time frame. And you get to see these guys like perform at such high levels, like the Jordans back in the day. And, and you get to see LeBron make huge plays, and Ray Allen becomes a superstar, and, Robert Horry becomes, one of the great clutch shooters of all time because how he performed in the playoffs. It's just, there's so many great things that happen during the NBA playoffs that I'm so looking forward to it, and it can't get here soon enough because the NBA regular season can be a drag. Right now, it's starting to get exciting. It's going to hit a lull as the season gets to the close because the cream of the crop has already risen to the top, and that's where they're going to be. Who's going to be kind of the favorites going in.
Yep.
And then it's finally getting to see those teams play out, and that's going to be fun. That's going to be a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, it will.
So those are the kind of things that I really look forward to. Even like there's occasional, like whenever like Rafael Nadal, goes up against your boy. I won't even mention his name because he is still greater than my boy Nadal as far as the wins go. In the
wins.
Yeah, in the championships.
The head-to-heads have favored Nadal, though.
Yes,
but I also think a lot of that has to do with, I think some of it has to do with their age. There's a slight age gap.
There's also, I think, a style of play that Nadal plays that's different than a lot of other people play, and it's tougher. It might be tough for him. So, but regardless, it's good times. Good times to be alive in sports, and I am excited to
speaking
see what's
of
to
it,
come.
I wanted to bring up some important dates, too, especially going back to the NFL, because we do have some important dates coming up right now. So tomorrow, clubs have
Clint,
to...
we will be talking about Josh Norman.
I think this will be a segue into talking about Josh Norman. But so tomorrow, prior to 4 p.m. Eastern time, clubs, that is the deadline for clubs to designate franchise or transition players. So that's franchise tags have to be applied by tomorrow. So that's an important date. A week from today is when the real fun starts, because that's when basically the legal tampering period begins. Because between the 16th and the 18th, you can begin to enter into contract negotiations with NFL free agents. So we will be, this time next week, we will be hearing all the rumors. Just keep refreshing Twitter, because it's going to be so fun for like 3 days, because it's going to be crazy. And then the 18th, I think at like 4:00 Eastern, you can actually make announcements about free agent signings, even though you're going to hear all that stuff on Monday and Tuesday. So we are coming up as far as the NFL into the real fun time. That's when all the stuff's going to happen. But yeah, speaking of which, yesterday the Bills made a move to fortify their cornerback situation to sign former All-Pro Josh Norman, agent from the Washington Redskins, which I believe is a
32-year-old quarterback.
One-year deal that could earn him up to $8 million with incentives, I believe.
Yes, exactly. This is a deal that, Clint obviously was, screaming at the rooftops right there a few seconds ago. And I'm going to pull it up again. So he's excited about Josh Norman. On the other hand, I think it's a good move. I think that they already have a good secondary. And I think this is a guy who has a good mind that you can help grow these guys that are already in their secondary. And I think that that's going to be huge because I do think he still can play. I don't think he's that guy anymore. I don't think he's that guy where he can lock down players. He's a good cornerback, but he's not a great one anymore. And I think that's just going to help them be able to put him in key spots, and he's going to be able to perform the way that they need him to perform. And he has, he obviously has a relationship with McDermott because he played for him in Carolina, I believe. So there is that. And I think that McDermott is a good defensive mind. So I think that they're going to use him wisely. He said that Clint says there's no risk for Buffalo. I disagree because if he is a complete bust, that's going to give up, when you put him in there, if he's just getting burned, that's $6 million wasted. When this is my biggest problem with it. You really need a wide receiver. This is your biggest spot that you need to make a move. Josh Allen needs somebody to throw to. He doesn't really have anybody that has the size and the hands that they need to throw to. Now, I love Dawson Knox. He is, I think, going to be a superstar in this league. He is a good tight end. I think he's going to be very good. He is a good, catch. He's going to be able to move the chains. But Smoke, on the other hand, he's not the number one guy. He's not a number one guy. He's a 2 or a 3. You need that number one guy. You need to get somebody like an Amari Cooper kind of deal. You need to get that guy to extend the field, to make big plays.
I'd be shocked if they weren't in on Amari Cooper. Because where are they?
So Clint just said, but they will see that in preseason and cut him if he cannot play. Preseason, I don't think they're going to even pay attention.
So
preseason, he's 32. They might not even really have him play very much because he's old. They might want to try and save his legs, but that's the problem, is that if you don't really feel them out enough, you could get burnt.
Yeah. So I'm just looking up here when the Bills pick. I'm just looking at some mock drafts here. Okay.
There's some good picks.
See, this is what worries me about the Bills too, is that they're going to be in a position picking 22nd in the first round where the four big receivers will probably already be on them. So I'm looking at the CBS Sports mock draft, and it does have them taking a receiver at 22, but I have actually not even heard of this guy, and I don't even know if I can pronounce his last name correctly, but it's Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State, 6 foot, 205 pounds. Managed just a 4.5 40 at the combine, but he plays much, much faster than that. He's a home run threat every time he touches the ball, and his yard after catch ability is second to none. He's also a terror in the return game. But that's the problem though, because at that point, the guys like Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb are probably already gone. There's another guy though. Was it Higgins? The guy from isn't it like T. Higgins or something like that? I thought he was actually good. I thought he was a high wide receiver prospect, but I actually don't see him anywhere.
My problem is I have a feeling they're not going to be able to get the
T. Higgins from Clemson,
yeah, they're not going to be able to get the Amari Coopers or the AJ Greens of the world. That's going to be my problem, is that they're not going to be able to get any of them.
Well, it sounds like
they're going to end up going and they're going to end up getting somebody like Robbie Anderson or like Emmanuel Sanders or something like that. They're going to get like that next guy, which is like, they're still like a 2 or a 3. Like, stop doing that. You're not helping Josh Allen out.
See, I agree with I wonder if the Bills would be a prime candidate to maybe trade up to get a better receiver.
Well, they should.
But they really
But even
could.
that, like, you're not guaranteeing yourself success. Like, we know Amari Cooper's good.
Yeah.
We know AJ Green, when he's healthy, is good. Like, I don't want AJ Green. He's 32. That's
also it sounds like Joe Burrow is holding the Bengals ransom to keep AJ Green too. So
yeah. Well, I mean,
the amount of leverage that Joe Burrow has is amazing. But I mean, if you're the Bills, it's no secret they do need a receiver. Yeah. I think I just worry about their draft position not being. But this is a good draft though for receivers. The depth of the position is good. Yeah. But it's definitely top heavy in terms of those top 3 guys, because you've got CeeDee Lamb, who I believe is the best of the bunch. I mean, Jerry Jeudy is great, and so is Ruggs, but both on Alabama. But there is something about CeeDee Lamb that I really like. But I don't know. I just don't. They're not going to be in position for that kind of pick, because I think CeeDee Lamb is the first projected one to go. Although it's close between him and Jeudy and Ruggs. They're all like within 5 to 8 picks of each other, those 3 guys. Yeah. But they probably all go before the Bills pick. Like, so for instance, if you're looking, like I'm looking at this mock draft right now, they've got CeeDee Lamb going with to the I would really hate that. Because then we both of our teams have to deal with that for the next 10 years. Yeah, and then they've got Jerry Jeudy going to the Las Vegas Raiders, which I can 100% see. And then they've got the Broncos getting Henry Ruggs. And then there's not another receiver picked until the Bills, again, at 22 with Brandon Ayuk, who I, again, have not heard of, but I mean, I'm assuming he's obviously good. So, and I've done, but they don't, it's weird because they don't have like T. Higgins from Clemson going until like 44 to the Colts. I thought T. Higgins was a much better prospect than that, but well, maybe not. They got him slipping to the midway through the second round. But anyways, we are entering that most fascinating of times in the NFL where you've got free agency and you've got the draft. It's really fun. I have enjoyed it just because it's
this year's free agent class is just unfortunate though. There's just not many wide receivers to go around. I mean, like next year you have a bigger pool because like Allen Robinson's going to be available, T.Y. Hilton, Keenan Allen, Marvin Jones, Kenny Stills, Mohamed Sanu. Those are bigger guys. Those are better guys probably than this class right now because there's only 2. I mean, Amari Cooper, you could make an argument, is the best out of that bunch and this bunch.
So I would say, yeah, you've got Amari Cooper, AJ Green, you've got Emmanuel Sanders. So, yep. So you've mentioned all these guys. You've got Robbie Anderson. You
Green
mentioned
is
him.
32.
Randall
Sanders is
Cobb.
33. Yeah, like all these guys are aging. Like they're not getting any faster. They hit their prime. They're on their way down.
You know who might be an interesting pickup? I mean, I don't mean for the Bills. I just mean in general. Just because it seems like last year he had a little bit of a breakout, especially towards the end of the year, and he's still pretty young at 26. Is Brashad Perriman, who was with the Bucks. He picked it up. He picked it up late last year though, but he had 36 receptions for 645 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's got a big body too. He's the kind of guy I wouldn't hate to see a team take a flyer on. Devin Funchess is also out there, by the way, and he's not a bad. He didn't play much last year though. I think he was he had a collarbone injury, but at 25, talented guy. That's a guy I'd maybe look at. Nelson Aguilar is also out there, and then Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, so it is. You're right. I mean, after Amari Cooper, it's a significant drop off.
Yeah, I mean, you could take a flyer on a Funchess or Perryman and hope that they pan out like the what you want them to. Right. But yeah, it's just like if you want guarantees, which is what I look for.
There's Amari Cooper.
It's Amari Cooper, and you could have AJ Green, but you can't sign him for longer than a 3-year deal.
I'll tell you what. If you're Amari Cooper,
a 2-year deal probably with a third option.
If you're Amari Cooper, could you have handpicked a better year to enter free agency?
Oh my God!
There's no one on the market to compete with you, and you are a top.
You're
definitely a top 10 receiver.
The only issue is next year he could have waited for like the TYs and all that stuff to get picked off and see what they get, and then he could bump his salary up.
True. There are arguments to both sides. Yeah. I don't know. I guess in a way on the surface,
but people are going to be hunting him down. Like he's sought after.
I'd want to because he's going to have. See, what's nice about him? What's nice about his situation too is that he can get his pick of the team that he wants and still get paid. So he could go. The highest bidder for him could also be the team that he would want to go with, and could be a team with a really good chance to win. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah. He's got that is probably also one of the advantages to this too. Cause one thing that, and the other thing with Amari Cooper too, is I think he's got a pretty good rep. He's not a headache. He's not a head case. No. He wants to win, I think. Yeah. Dallas is probably not going to be able to afford him. I really don't think he'll be going back there because they're going to have to pay Dak Prescott. I mean, Jerry Jones is in a real situation there, but they're going to probably have to, because I wouldn't want to pay Dak Prescott, to be honest.
Oh no, not that money. He's not worth it. We've gone over that so many times. He's not that good. He's not.
I'm coming around to that line of thinking, to be honest.
He's decent. He's a bottom third quarterback.
He's an average quarterback.
Yeah,
which to me doesn't dictate getting paid $30 million a year.
He's like Kirk Cousins, but he might not have as good of an arm.
I was gonna say I actually would probably take I'd probably take Cousins.
He's just a bigger body, though. Like, he can take more hits. He can move. He can run the ball a little bit more. But Kirk Cousins probably has a little bit better arm.
I don't particularly love any of them. But what I was saying before, though, is I actually am enjoying this time of year right now, especially on Twitter with Dolphin fans just ripping each other apart about it's so funny because you've got half of the fan base, including me, who wants the Dolphins to get Tua and wants them to trade up if they have to do it. And then you've got the other half who are talking themselves, in my opinion, who are talking themselves into Justin Herbert because they feel like we're not going to get to it. And I just think it's funny. The Dolphins have look, the reason why the Dolphins have been mired in mediocrity for so long is because they have not gone ahead and addressed the quarterback situation. They've never done it. They have not done it since 13 walked out the door. So in over 21 years, you have not addressed the quarterback situation, and look what it has cost you. It's cost you everything. You have not been a competitive or reputable team in that time in over 2 decades because they have always skimped at the quarterback position, which I find that so bizarre because, first of all, they have no problem spending money. The Dolphins owners, whether it's been Wayne Huizenga or Stephen Ross, have always had deep pockets. They've never been shy about spending money. There have been years where the Dolphins have been right at the top of, payout in terms of salary for their team. So it's not like they're not afraid to spend money. But for some reason, unlike, I don't know any other team that has done this, the Dolphins have ignored the single most important position. I've said this before and I stand by it. Quarterback in the National Football League is the single most important position in all of sports. Mm-hmm. Not just in football, in all of sport. And the Dolphins have ignored it. I don't understand how. So, like, I saw a question this morning, and it said, if you were the Dolphins and the Bengals offered you the number 1 pick for all 3 of your first-round picks this year, which would be 5, 18, and 26, would you do it? And if you're asking me, yeah, I would. Would it hurt? Yeah, it would hurt a lot. A ton, because the Dolphins have an absolute ton of needs. But guess what? The biggest need of them all is quarterback. Now, is Joe Burrow a sure thing? No. Is Tua Tagovailoa a sure thing? No. Are any of them sure things? No. There's no such thing. The only guy I could think of in the last, 10 years of watching quarterbacks come out of the draft that I thought for sure was a sure thing, and he was, except he retired early, was Andrew Luck. I think everybody to a man knew Andrew Luck was an absolute sure thing. I don't feel that way about Burrow. I would feel that way about Tua, except his injury history scares me.
Yeah.
But he's still the guy.
Always tough.
He's still the guy I want, though. Well, because, generally, look, if you're injured in high school, if you're injured in college, you're going to be injured in the pros. It's just like almost a given. There's like a 70% chance that it happens. And I'm not pulling that number out of my ass. That's an actual statistic that shows if you have been injured as a quarterback at this position, there's a 70% chance you're going to suffer an injury in the NFL. I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a question of when, not if. Mm-hmm. But if you're the Dolphins, I don't know. Now, do I think they should do that? I mean, I don't know. Probably not. But if you put that in front of me, I don't know that I would be able to turn it down. Because I'd have to say, like, look, the one thing that this team has lacked in the last 20 years is any sort of killer instinct to go after a quarterback. And that's why you've been mediocre for 20 plus years. That's why your team is perpetually 7-9, 8-8, 6-10. Yeah. If you could even call that mediocre, I call that below average. So and is it any coincidence that you've been this bad since your first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback retired? No, it's not. It's not a coincidence. It's 100% cause and effect.
Right.
So, like, if you have a chance to it now, is that an extremely lofty price to move up 4 slots? Yes, it's incredibly lofty. But what if Joe Burrow is the guy that he appears to be in college? What if he's that guy? What if he is that guy on the pros? Then you have maybe just traded 3 first-round picks for a Super Bowl champion. Who wouldn't do that? I would. I mean, would it hurt? Again, yes, of course it would hurt. Most good trades hurt. And we talk about this in baseball all the time, right? During the trade deadline, how if it's a good trade, it should hurt, right? Like, if it's a fair trade for both sides, it should hurt.
It's going to hurt a little bit, yeah.
It's supposed to hurt.
Yeah. It could hurt a lot.
It could.
Yeah, depending on what the deal is. But you hope that the decision's for the best of the team.
But if you're the Dolphins, though, that has been – but you look at all the teams around the Dolphins. Just look in the AFC East, okay? Mm-hmm. So the Patriots have had Brady for the last 20 years, so they've never had a QB problem, okay? You've had the Jets, who went and got Sam Darnold a couple of years ago. You got the Bills, who went and got Josh Allen a couple of years ago. What have the Dolphins done? Nothing. They addressed that quarterback situation with second, third-round picks. They get
Ryan Tannehill went deep in the playoffs last year.
So they made their pick at 7 when they got Tannehill, right? And they kept him around for way too long, and it didn't pan out because was he a good quarterback last year with the Titans? Yes, he was, and he will probably parlay that into a really big contract, and good for him. But if you look deeply at the Ryan Tannehill numbers, actually, you don't even have to look that deep. Just look at his numbers. He was an absolute game manager. Mm-hmm. The difference between him with the Dolphins and him with the Titans was he was surrounded by much, much better talent with the Titans. He had an all-pro running back, and he had one of the best offensive lines in football. Of course he was going to be better. He probably took a slight dip in terms of receiving targets, but not that much. not that much. A.J. Brown emerged as an unbelievably great rookie for him this year. They actually have a pretty good tight end, I think, situation there in Tennessee. I mean, he had a lot of good pieces in place. He really did. And again, they were built around the running back. Everything went through Derrick Henry. The guy got 30 touches a game.
Yeah.
And that was 30 touches as handoff because he doesn't really catch the ball much out of the backfield. He's a true throwback running back.
Indeed.
So Tannehill had much more to work with. And of course he was going to be a little better. Mm-hmm. But they have not done a thing. The Dolphins have not done a thing. This is the time. You've got all this draft capital. You have over $100 million in salary cap space. You could not be better positioned ever to make a move for a guy. This is the year. I mean, just go for it.
You got to. You got to make a move. You got to make a move.
Because if they sit there,
mediocrity.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Right? I'll tell you what's going to happen right now. If they sit at 5, first of all, Burrow's going to be gone because he's going 1 to the Bengals. There is a very good chance that the Redskins might take Tua Tagovailoa because Riverboat Ron, even though you think he might want a guy like Chase Young to insert into his defense because he's a defensive coach, there's a really good chance Ron Rivera wants to put his stamp on this team. And what better way to put a stamp on the team than to get a franchise quarterback? Because Dwayne Haskins was not the guy you drafted. Mm-hmm. That's a totally different regime that picked that guy. There is precedent for this. We saw the Cardinals do it. They draft Josh Rosen 1 year. Boom. What's-his-face comes in there and then takes Kyler Murray. Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury.
Who cares?
Cliff Kingsbury comes in, completely tears that down, trades Josh Rosen for a second-round pick to the Dolphins, takes Kyler Murray. Mm-hmm. So if you're the Dolphins and you're planning to get Tua at 5, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Because even if the Redskins don't take him, some team is jumping you to get there. If you sit at 5, Justin Herbert, you better love Justin Herbert. But I can tell you right now, Justin Herbert, oh, man.
I still like him.
There's no it factor.
So that's pretty much it for our show today. I did want to say, I did look up Rashad. When you were talking about him before, I started, looking into him a little bit.
Rashad Perriman?
Yes. I started looking into him, and I might be very interested in that. 6'2", 210, 212.
Oh, nice size, yeah.
Good hands. Like, he's got, over 9-inch hands. Like,
he was a beast.
Runs a 4.3.
Yeah.
I think he runs a 4.3.
Yeah.
That's a potential. He was a first-round pick.
Yes, he was.
So, color me intrigued by that.
Yeah.
I would be. That's a flyer I'd be willing to take because you get him relatively cheap. You could sign him for a few years. That would be awesome. And then you'd have Josh Allen and him being a connection for a little while. Injuries have hampered him a little bit. He has bounced around to 4
But if you got a guy like him, a decent veteran like that, and then you couple that with maybe a first-round pick.
But he seems like he wants to work hard. Seems like he's got good hands. He had 6 touchdowns last year. Those are all things that I like. I mean, he wasn't the number 1 guy.
No. Chris Godwin was the. And then you got Mike Evans, too.
Yes, yeah.
So
they have talent, yeah. So he was able to be open. I don't know how. That's the problem.
And somehow Jameis Winston still managed to throw 30 picks.
Yeah, he's terrible. terrible.
He's terrible. Somebody's going to sign him, though. Because they're going to see that 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, and they're going to ignore those 30 picks. They're going to suppress that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's
part of the journey is the end. We've reached the end of the show, so,
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Stay classy.
Appreciate it. You can find me on Twitter at @INorrisWinkle. You can find me on Instagram, at Happy McAvoy.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man, and we will see you Friday. Stay classy, Planet Global.
Word up. Hopefully the markets start to change direction. Although if they don't, bye. As Jim Cramer would say. As Jim Cramer would say, bye. Bye. I don't really like him.
Buy it up.
Peace out. See you later, Clint. Thanks for commenting.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But mostly stay classy.